YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, back in Total War Rome 2. I told you the other day that I had a couple of battles that I got to play with Oakley High Def. When I say with, not on the same team. Some of you asked how we ran into each other. I did not plan it. We just we got into a matchmaking match. I was under a guise. You can see my name there, so he didn't recognize me. But I recognized his name and said hi. So he knew that he was playing against me when we played it. You all saw the first one. If you haven't seen it, you need to go watch it. It's lots of fun. I'm not going to say what happens. That way, for those of you who haven't seen it, you can go back and watch. But yeah, you can see that Oakley this time is going to sport the Iceni. He has a new teammate. This time I believe his name is New Blub as Chimeria. And then General Ostrike joins me again, this time as the Suebi. And I will be playing as my namesake with Carthage. Carthage is kind of a love-hate relationship for me on Rome 2. I love them because they're my favorite faction in the ancient world. I'm just not real thrilled about their roster in the fight. Well, I like their roster. I'm not real thrilled about the stats and cost of some of the units in their roster in the final patch. I actually do like their roster overall. It's rather unique. Now, some of their units really aren't bad. Libyan infantry are pretty decent for the price. Not great, but decent. Late Libyan hoplites are fantastic for the price. Carthaginian hoplites even are pretty good for the price as far as hoplites go. And you have some other unique units. Having these mercenary Gallic warriors is nice. It would be nicer if they were mercenary Celtic warriors because they tend to be slightly better. The mercenary Scutari cav is not bad. Carthage's big time problem though when it comes to cavalry is that they do not have heavy melee cav. And they do not have a cost-effective heavy shock cavalry. All they have available to them is a noble cav general, which is not a very good choice. The Carthaginian noble cavs, since the release of the game, have been pathetically underpowered for the price. And no matter how many patches we got, it was never addressed. It is unfortunate. But overall, Carthage is not a crap faction. They're certainly not a power faction. They kind of get left somewhere in no man's land in between. Anyway, my army is 4 Gallic warriors. I've got 2 Libyan hoplites, not the late ones. I just wanted to save a couple of talents, and that I did. Right here I'm using Libyan hoplites for what they're quite good at, which is absorbing missile fire from annoying units like this. The Cimmerian has a couple of noble horse archers, and I believe a couple of... I don't know if they're all noble horse archers. Let's see. Nobles... Yeah, 4 noble horse archers. That's quite the investment. Quite the investment. And they're all using precision shot, and even with the forest here, they're causing some decent damage to my Libyan hoplites, but this is a horribly cost-inefficient exchange for horsemen of that caliber, so I'm happy to take it. And this is one of the things that makes Carthage somewhat flexible as a faction. The Cimmerian infantry is going to be rather easy to handle. It's only 3 Cimmerian nobles. Behind them, though, is a horse load of skirmishers. So there's 3 Cimmerian heavy archers and 3 picked peltists. The picked peltists are questionable, and there's 2 hoplites backing them up. Picked peltists do have a lot of ammo with very nice missile damage, but they're of questionable value in melee. So I'm not sure that I like them just because of their extreme price. Otherwise, they have some good sides. Levy Freeman up here for, I'm going to go into slow motion so we can catch all the action. So the Iceni is Oakley High Def. He's got 2 Briton Scorpions, I believe. No, just 1. No, 2, here it is. So he's got 2 Briton Scorpions, interesting unit. They can get a lot of kills on cavalry or other big units from a distance. Heroic Noble General. Here he's got 2 Heroic Riders, Druidic Noble to support with morale. He's got a center of 3 Chosen Sword Band and a Heroic Noble. He's holding another Chosen Sword Band and feasibly other units in reserve. They're hidden back here. Veteran Riders, and then there's 3 Briton Slingers, I believe, in total that are on the battlefield. The Suebi player, my teammate, has a Noble Rider coming out there, and in the forest here he has hidden an absolute crap load of Berserkers. I want to say it's like 6... He has a lot of Berserkers. Like, a lot of Berserkers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, you can only have 4, so yeah, he's got 4 Berserkers. Never mind. Not quite so many Berserkers. Maybe Air was thinking it was more in his head. So yeah, he's got 3 Noble Riders. Considerable investment. His Suebi army, the other pieces consist of Bloodsworn. Bloodsworn will be They would be okay-ish versus like a chosen swordsman for their price. They would do horribly against a heroic noble, even at their price. Maybe, if they got a really good charge, they could pay for themselves against a heroic noble. They wouldn't win, but pay for themselves. So my Gallic warriors are going to lead the charge. Basically, I'm going to assault the Cimmerian position immediately. I do have 3 Cretan archers in my army, but those Cretan archers fighting uphill against 3 Cimmerian heavy archers, they will be outmatched. So I have to move against the Cimmerian. So I charge in with everything I have against the Cimmerian nobles. I get a little bit disrupted here, but my Gallic warriors are actually going to get quite a nice charge on the Cimmerian noble infantry. It is uphill, but these guys are very expensive, and my Gallic warriors are very cheap, and I will get a considerable number of kills against a much more expensive infantry, and it will be a pretty cost-effective exchange. I've killed 1 Cimmerian heavy archer, but he's routed a Cretan archer at the same time. At this point, the picked peltasts are actually wasting ammo. They're throwing into my Gallic warriors through the back of their own Cimmerian nobles, though the friendly fire is not quite as extreme on Rome 2, so he'll still be affecting my troops worse than his own. My mercenary noble fighters and Libyan infantry are moving up. I've got 2 of the mercenary nobles right here, and then my Libyans are on the other flank. 1 mercenary noble is going to be able to immediately outflank. Over here on this flank, it looks like the Bloodsworn have engaged the heroic nobles. Yeah, 2 Bloodsworn against this chosen sword band. They will actually probably win that fight. Over here we got more Bloodsworn and then 4 Berserkers. Let's kind of see what happens. My flank's nothing too crazy right now, just my guys slowly beating down Hoplites. Some Levy Freemen here are going to get destroyed by Bloodsworn. That is a unit that Bloodsworn can easily handle. This Noble Rider out here getting ganged up on by 2 infantry and destroyed. And these Bloodsworn were actually doing okay-ish, but now they're going to get destroyed by a rear charge of Chosen Swordsmen. These Bloodsworn should have already intercepted these units. And then the Woden-ass Spears, they kind of took a nerfing in the last patch. I'm pretty sure that they're, yeah, they got downgraded from medium to light spear infantry. It's definitely going to hurt them from a charge standpoint. You can see the fight's going quite well for me over here. All of the Cimmerian skirmishers are in the back. I made him think I was going to bring my general around and charge, but that would have been suicide to charge into heavy archers. The heavy archers carry a 2-handed spear in melee, and then the picked peltasts have a lot of health. So that was a feint, and it was a feint in order to draw his guys away from their targets momentarily. And this has worked, and it's kept my noble fighters here from taking severe damage from the nearby skirmishers, while my heavier cavalry that can actually finish this fight is swinging around with infantry support. So this was kind of a game, plus it gave my Cretans more time to fire into this delicious blob of expensive skirmishers, which are now all on top of each other, and they're not going to be able to defend themselves as well. But if you watch here, once I hit those archers and they get into combat, they are going to pull out a 2-handed spear. So, yep, they can be kind of nasty in drawn-out combat, but since I hit them with such a good charge, they will rout quickly. The Cimmerian general is dead, and it's now affecting the morale, and I'm going to easily wrap up this flank. Over here, however, my Suebi teammate's not having such good luck against Oakley. Oakley is killing his guys. The composition of the Suebi army was a little questionable. However, his application of it was also a bit questionable. He had 3 noble riders, which would have been enough to hold off the heroic riders, I believe, although the heroic riders are very heavy, whereas I think the noble riders are lighter, so it would have been difficult for the Suebi. Still, though, again, the Bloodsworn, some of them getting a decent number of kills considering what they're fighting against. 41 kills on that Bloodsworn. They're cheap units. The Night Hunters shouldn't be in that fight. It's not a good one for them. 81 kills on that Bloodsworn, 63 there. These units really are hitting above their cost, but the problem is that they're being destroyed, and there's not enough of them to carry on the fight. So really not a bad performance there. If you look at the performance of the Berserkers, though, some of them not even really engaged properly. I'm not sure if they got a frenzied charge or anything else, and so the Berserkers are paying very low dividends right now. Though a few noble riders coming back in here and getting into the Briton Slingers, which is good for me. I certainly don't want Oakley to have skirmishers left. I do have a couple of Cretan archers with a little bit of ammo. The Briton Scorpion has been firing at my general and other units for a little while. Fortunately, it did not kill him. So here I take out Oakley's Briton Scorpion crew and get these guys off the battlefield. I believe that's my general's bodyguard who's done that. with the support of some Carthaginian cavalry. Yep. The Briton heroic noble general is just kind of keeping his distance from my men, trying to protect these Briton scorpions so they have longer to fire. And then the noble horse archers, which earlier avoided me, I did manage to assassinate the general unit of them. They have now come back into combat. I get a quick downhill charge with all my cav, though I do swing my general out to safety up on top, and then I start moving immediately this Libyan hoplite into action. These guys, if they don't get charged, they are very deadly versus cavalry in prolonged combat. The late ones have quite a lot more armor, which makes them much more survivable, but both units, I believe, have the 30 bonus versus large. So these guys can pull down cavalry at an alarming rate if they do not get charged first. And they can actually hold out longer than you would think in some infantry fights as well, if you get them into a hoplite phalanx. Very handy units. The noble cavalry, or the heroic riders of the Iceni, now crashing into the back of what's left of these berserkers. Berserkers are very unstable versus cavalry. It's one of their weaknesses. Very strong in the charge versus infantry. They don't have many men, but of course they can punch very good. But versus cavalry, they're quite weak. The enemy general, my teammate's Wodenaz Spear General is in this combat as well. This is really not the type of combat that this Wodenaz Spear wants to be in. Look at this Iceni swordsman out here duking it out with Wodenaz Spearmen. See how he does here. Look at the sling stones actually killing one of their own horsemen there. Sling stones are also killing a lot of Wodenaz spears. This guy right here probably gotten peppered by a couple of them as well. So at this point, Oakley knows that I'm bearing down on him. There's no real reason for me to hurry. Saving the Swaby player at this point is a moot point. It would just potentially get me rushed into a position that's not good. I hold all the cards here. The biggest problem for me is that my guys are tired. I have 2 mercenary noble fighters in very good condition. Now these guys are honestly pretty crappy for their price. They are very heavy melee infantry, which is good. It helps them with impact damage on the charge. But when you look at their cost versus, say, like an Oathsworn for what you get armor and, you know, melee defense, shield wall, all the things that the mercenary noble fighters lack, that is the reason why mercenary noble fighters are not particularly good when compared to units of their own class. Now that said, it does not mean that they won't chew the snot out of units below their class, because they absolutely will. But it's just another reason why Carthage struggles against factions, say like the Boii or something like that. Though Carthage does have elephants and some decent skirmishers, and when used properly, they will be extremely dangerous. Here, the heroic nobles kind of feinted like they were going to charge in towards my chief swordsman, so of course I pull back, start firing arrows and everything into them. I want to drive these guys back. I've switched into heavy shot with my Cretan archers, and I intend to do as much HP damage to the Iceni general as possible. If the Iceni general drops, this battle will end a lot quicker. And even with their shields up, good armor, all that kind of stuff, my Cretan archers on heavy shot are going to cause some pretty substantial damage. However, I mean, if this heroic noble turns around and runs, it's going to get shot in the back. It looks like we got some Briton slingers out of ammo who are being sent against my lines to see if they can try and finagle into a position to either make me waste ammo, javelins or something. I do put a javelin volley on them, but I believe I turn off fire at will as soon as I realize it, though this was a great move by Oakley. Getting me to chuck a few javelins is never a bad thing for him. I've moved all my Gallic mercenaries to a single flank, and my idea is pretty simple. I have superior forces to the Iceni, but the Iceni are not completely dead. Chosen Sword Band are pretty tough units. They've got a considerably better charge than my Libyans. This heroic noble is going to take the attention of both my noble fighters if I intend to kill it. But there is a damaged heroic noble over here, so essentially I've got to make numbers work to my advantage. There's still a couple of very heavy Iceni cav left, although they are depleted in numbers. They are still a major threat to my Carthaginian cav, which is there on both flanks. I do have a hoplite left, so I have some anti-cav power. What I'm going to do is put my weakened cav unit with these 3 infantry, and I'm going to try and draw these infantry into a fight with them. I will try and pin down a mainline unit or 2 with my Libyans, while my 2 noble fighters focus on the enemy general. And then I need my spearmen up here, because if these 2 heavy horse come after my general, the Carthaginian cav cannot protect him against it. so my spearmen need to be present, so that's why I'm pulling them this direction. So I have to keep 3 units nearby to protect my general. The Iceni general immediately goes into a shield wall, which is not a bad plan. They're going to last a long time, but I think that he should have come out of the shield wall and charged and then gone into shield wall, because just standing here in shield wall means that I'm going to get all the charge and he will get none if I charge him like this. Don't get me wrong, his guys are going to have a substantial amount of staying power while they're in that shield wall though. So my main line has moved up, my Gallic mercenaries are moving up on the flank, and here comes the noble fighters. They've gotten a bit of a rest, and I'm going to bring them in and just see what we can do. At this point, Oakley was a little bit hesitant. He may have gotten a last-second charge there. He goes into battle rhythm and shield wall immediately, which is a good choice. I do not have shield wall with mercenary noble fighters. You can see my guys did get an excellent charge. They have a very good charge bonus, and they're getting a lot of kills. In the long run, though, the heroic noble punches with heavier weapon damage, and that's going to be a big deal. He intercepts my other mercenary noble fighter with a chosen sword band and some heavy cavalry. It's a good move by him to delay this other one so that his general can focus, but then I just peel off a Libyan infantry. Over here, my Celts are charging up the hill. This is really just to keep these guys in place. If I win this battle over here, they will die one way or the other. So I'm not even concerned with the fact that my Celtic or Gallic warriors may die here. And you can see that Oakley is trying to use the mass of his heavy cavalry to good effect, and he'll do so here against a light target like these swords. He interrupts their charge. He's now going to swing his guys downhill, and they're going to do very well downhill versus these light Celtic swords. So on this flank, Oakley is setting himself up for success. However, I can immediately reinforce with the Libyan infantry, and even though my Celts will rout, I've got cav support and Libyan infantry backup. And now the enemy general is facing overwhelming odds over here, and my own general is being protected by a unit of spearmen nearby so that his remaining heavy cavalry unit can't get to them. So at this point, the heroic nobles of the Iceni fight out a heroic fight to the death here, basically. These guys are fighting ferociously. He's got another headhunt going here. I bring in my mercenary noble fighters. He's popped second wind. Probably best to do that after the headhunt, but I mean it's kind of a foregone conclusion at this point, so it doesn't really matter. You can see that my Gallic warriors were routed. Some of them will come back though. And as expected over here, Oakley's doing quite well. These Libyan infantry though are holding out quite well, getting actually a fair number of kills. They will match up outside of the charge. They'll match up pretty nicely against chosen sword band. They also have shield wall. So the enemy general, I believe, has died. These heroic nobles give way and start to flee the field. And it's at this point where you're going to see a pretty much a mass breakdown of what's left of the Iceni troops. And here they are routing as my Carthaginians force them off the field. Great fight by Oakley. He took a little too much damage in the end from the Suebi player, and the Cimmerian did not damage me badly enough for Oakley to be able to finish me off. But again, you can see that I had all the tools. I really didn't lose much in that final fight with him because, like I said, he just really didn't have what all he needed. Now, somehow this unit got over here. I don't know how. It may have gotten routed and come back. It's the Druidic nobles. So these guys are supposed to be the morale factor on the battlefield, but apparently they fled away earlier. Now coming back trying to prove their love of the pagan gods. So here they come back towards the battle. It took me a minute. I had to dispatch some cavalry units to come over here and finish these guys. So I'll fast forward a second until I get them over here. I didn't see this unit, but Oakley circled it for me to let me know, hey, I got a unit left. We've got to take care of it. It's awesome of him. Instead of just conceding defeat, he fights to the end. I like doing this too. I think it's the right way to go. It's a lot of fun. So I'm going to send these these Gallic warriors in first because it wouldn't be patchy without a meat shield. They won't live against these Druidic nobles. They'll die. You know, if the Druidic nobles were spread out more and this Gallic warrior had been full strength, they could probably have taken this fight. But the stats on the Druidic nobles aren't bad. They're just very few in numbers and they're weak to a charge. But I mean, just in a grind out fight, they're okay-ish. So they're going to easily put down these light Celtic swords. They actually kind of have like snow camouflage going on here with their colors. It's pretty cool. I do some cavalry feints here. The Druidic nobles going in and out of a shield wall. trying to brace themselves for my charges. So I'm feinting with my general and my Carthaginian cab from both directions. Basically, I just need to catch these guys from behind, which I will finally do here. So the Druidic nobles are going to get pounced on from two directions. Little Druidic sandwich here. And they're going to be cut down by my Carthaginian cavalry. So, great game by Oakley and his teammate, also my teammate. It was a lot of fun. I hope you all enjoyed the couple of battles that I fought with him. If we take a look here, just at the stats. So I ended up in that one with 2,155 kills. Oakley's still getting more kills than me because he killed a considerable number of the Swaby there. So he played very well overall. And the Cimmerian was relatively few in numbers, but I did manage to pretty much annihilate him in his entirety. So if we take a look at which units did well for me, my Libyan infantry ended up being very cost effective here versus the hoplites and stuff of the Cimmerian. Noble fighters just having a heyday with spearmen. Again, had they been in a straight up charge fight against the heroic nobles, probably would have been a little bit different story. But these guys absolutely destroying spear units. Not the kind of fight a spear unit wants to be in. Unless you're a Royal Spartan, then they might be able to pull it off. Decentish kills with one archer, okay-ish with these two cav. They got a lot of skirmisher kills, but some nice numbers here for Oakley. He's got all three of his chosen swordsmen, well, 3 of the 4 chosen swordsmen with good numbers. His general did not do well, but he got picked at by archers and then double teamed, so well not expected. Now, this many kills with a Briton Slinger. Now, Briton Slinger's not the worst slinger out there, but still, that's a pretty good number of kills for Briton Slinger, so very well used by Oakley. 106 kills out of a Scorpion is also well worth your time, and even his heroic riders here having a pretty decent time. The veteran riders must have gotten chewed up, but definitely overall pretty nice. Take a look at the Swaby and the Cimmerian here. This Bloodsworn right here doing very well, this one as well. They're very cheap units, it doesn't take much to make them pay. These Night Hunters got more kills in the end than well, that's a different unit. This may have gotten the veteran riders, come to think of it. This Night Hunter, though, not doing well. Night Hunters are quite good against cavalry. The Cimmerian archers, you can see that it doesn't take them long to start getting kills. That's why I had to dispatch them. The picked peltist ended up being a waste of money. Noble cavalry, misused for the most part. These noble horse archers, very expensive, quite decent in melee. They're very heavy, so they're still good on the charge. You can see the Cimmerian noble infantry got pooped on pretty bad, though, by my Carthaginian infantry. Most of their kills came from the cheaper Celtic swordsmen. Hope you all enjoyed this battle. I very much enjoyed getting to play with Oakley. Even after I explained last time why I don't often meet up with other YouTubers, some of you still seem to think that that's what I should be doing. I don't know, I guess I tried to explain it. Maybe I didn't explain it good enough. I really don't have time to meet up with people. I know you would say, well, it makes more sense to meet up with people because then you don't waste time. But it also takes time to meet up with people. I have to, get a group of people together. I have to make sure the time fits, and then, come on, that usually you all end up chatting and other stuff like that, and that chews up time too. It's easier for me to just, once in a while, take a quick risk, see if I get some decent battles. In this case, I did. Got to play against some fun players. Anytime I get a chance to play with people, I will. I just can't sit here and promise you that I'm going to have time to set up matches with folks, because I won't. And my schedule is just too erratic generally to make it work. And then a lot of you folks who want to play matches against me, like Blade Master and some of the others, I'd love to play matches with you. Time zone, though, is probably going to keep us from being able to do so easily, unless you all want to move to Arkansas, and we'll set up a Total War compound here or something, which sounds good to me. Hope you all enjoyed it. HeirofCarthage, signing off for now.